Scott Abraham, ABC7 sports director and anchor. Scott, what's been the vibe at Commanders Park all week?
Good morning, boys. Yeah, I think they understand Sunday against Atlanta was not acceptable, especially from a defensive perspective. And you just got to believe they're going to have a bounce back, and they seem confident. They seem ready to go. There's certainly a uptick of energy knowing that Jayden's going to play and he's back in the huddle. So obviously when you have your starting quarterback and one of the best young talents in the NFL back on the field, that gives a big boost. But, there's certainly, from a media perspective and people that's on the beat, there's still a concern and question mark regarding this defense.
I was a little surprised, maybe you weren't, but I was a little surprised that Dan Quinn kind of publicly said he was expecting maybe more stunts or whatever. Listen, he keeps everything very close to the vest, right? And I was just kind of surprised he said that. You can interpret it as a shot at Witt. I'm sure he didn't mean it that way, but I don't know. For a guy that's so calculated, I was surprised he said that. He kind of publicly questioned maybe the tactics.
Yeah, I don't know if I really got that from that comment, but they seem to be in lockstep. Like, remember, DQ brought over Joe Witt, and
I know he's his guy. I know that.
Yep, they had a long relationship in coaching together at Dallas. So I feel like that he has Joe's back and vice versa, and it's going to be on both of them to kind of try to figure this out and fix this. And the problem is unfortunately that the talent is not going to necessarily change. Like the guys on the field are going to be the guys on the field, and they got to make it work. They got to figure out that recipe of getting these guys all on the same page. I was more intrigued by Joe Witt's comments yesterday, guys, in terms of we don't want guys wearing the cape. We don't want guys going individual and playing out of their position. Collectively, you got to all do your job per se. So I felt like Joe Witt was calling out some guys of, trying to put on the cape in that Atlanta game, and they were out of position in certain plays in certain moments.
Scott, chunk plays have been a big problem for this Commanders defense. You touched on the problems that they're having. Who's going to guard Quentin Johnston? Who's going to draw that assignment? Because I don't know that there's one guy on the team that's capable of covering that dude.
I mean, I'll counter that, Cakes. I mean, Keenan Allen, Ladd McConkey, Quentin Johnson. I mean, they got some really good wide receivers. So whoever matches up with McConkey, whoever matches up with Quentin Johnson, they're going to have their hands full. So, I got to believe maybe Marshawn's going to start on Quentin Johnson, and we'll see how it goes, because obviously it hasn't been great for Marshawn, and I think this is the version of Marshawn that we're going to be getting, and you just got to figure it out and put him in the best position to do as best as he can. And I was high on Marshawn in training camp. I thought he looked great, was moving well, had that hunger of bounce back attitude, and it just hasn't transitioned onto the field. So that's going to be. I think it all comes hand in hand, guys, in terms of pass rush and the guys on the back end. With the Chargers missing their tackles, Joe Alt's gone and their other tackle. I mean, this is a perfect get-right game to get Justin Herbert off his spot and make him uncomfortable. Do you drop some more blitzes? Do you find a way to get extra pressure on Justin? Because, I would argue up to this point of the season, I think Justin Herbert's going to be the best quarterback you faced. Certainly Jordan Love's in that category, but I think Justin Herbert's a top-tier quarterback in this league. So if Michael Penix can carve you up, Justin Herbert with those three wide receivers and Hampton, could be a long day.
Scott, can you argue that Lattimore may have looked good to you and the other media people at training camp? Because the only real high-caliber wideout in training camp was Deebo Samuel, because Terry McLaurin, he wasn't covering him in training camp. Like, maybe he just looked good because he was covering substandard wideouts in training camp.
And to that point, they're not big-bodied wideouts either, right? They're not tall, bigger bodied guys that you face with a Drake London or a CD Lamb or Malik Neighbors. So they're more of a smaller bodied Deebo, and Terry obviously wasn't out there. So that's a good point, but he's got to somehow fix this in terms of he's becoming a liability in a sense. I hate to use that strong word, but it's true. These teams are kind of picking on Marshawn, and they're going after him because they see the deficiencies and they see he's not the same guy he was with the Saints. So It's something Joe Witt Jr., Dan Quinn, they got to figure it out, whether that's more pressure, moving guys in and out of different situations. So I'll be curious how they kind of adjust against the Chargers on Sunday, because this is a big game.
Scotty, what do you expect from Jayden? Because, even against the Giants, he came out a little rusty, right? Because he didn't have a lot of time in preseason. Wasn't hooking up, obviously, with Terry. Overthrew him on that one pass, and wasn't hooked up with Debo and against the Giants, and then he got hurt. Haven't seen him in 2.5 weeks. So what are you thinking? What are you expecting?
Bish, I was thinking that last night. I'm honestly I'm tempered here, because I'm not expecting Jayden Daniels Cincinnati Bengals last year type of game. I think folks have to understand this is a guy that's been out of football game action for 2 weeks, and he had some so-so performances against the Giants and the Packers. So I'm not expecting Jayden Daniels to put the team on his back on Sunday. I think this is going to be a ball control. Let's pound the football. Let's control the clock. Let's get those third and short manageables, long drives, keep Herbert off the field. And I'll also be curious about is he going to be wearing that brace? Is that brace going to have any limitations of the way he maneuvers on the field and the way he can cut and move? Will that be the same Jayden that we're used to, the shiftiness? So the jury's still out, but I have tempered expectations on my expectations on Jayden this first game back.
Talking to Scott Abraham from ABC7. All right, this is just interpretation. Cakes has posited this week that Dan Quinn sounded down during his pressers. Jason and I felt like, just listening to the voice, that it was the same.
I'm a speech expert, Scott. I don't know if you know that or not. It's part of my resume.
But Scott, you're there. You're there day after
radio,
day.
I mean, you got it all.
You're there day after day. You're there for all the pressers. Did Dan Quinn seem to you to be down? I don't want to use your words. Is down a fair word? What words would you say?
Like less swagger, less bravado than usual.
I would say, I wouldn't use the word down. I would say there was a seriousness. There was a
concern, more of a concern. Maybe
there was an intense. I think there is a concern, guys. I honestly do, because you look at this stretch of games coming up and the way they're playing. I think there is. He's not going to say it, but I think internally there's a concern, especially on the defensive side of the football, that this could be a long season, because you're not just going to go on the waiver wire and bring guys in that's going to fix this. These are the guys you're kind of riding with and rolling with, and it's their job, the coaching staff, to figure this out and make it work. I think there's a point here, 4 games in, with the Chargers, Bears, Dallas, Chiefs. This is a tough stretch. So I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but it could go sideways really quickly if they drop this game and then they get a Bears game coming up with a Bears team that's coming off a bye. But I'll take it one game at a time. But this is a big game. I want to see how this team bounces back, especially defensively, against a Chargers offense that has a lot of weapons.
Scott, how concerned should Commanders fans be about the Debo Samuel heel injury that popped up this week?
He's going to play. That's my gut. I think I would not be overly concerned. I think it's something to monitor, but I think he better play. My goodness, what are you going to have? Chris Moore, Jalen Lane, and Luke McCaffrey as your weapons? That'd be concerning, but I think Debo's going to play. I think he'll be fine. Going back to California, obviously he was in San Francisco, but spent a lot of time on the West Coast. So I think Debo's going to play, and he's going to be that guy that is so helpful in those third and shorts and those second and shorts. They pick up a first down, and you can move them all over the field. So adding him is huge. And I think this offense is also missing an Austin Eckler. I mean, we haven't talked about that a lot. I mean, he brought a lot to the offense of what he can do. So, but still, kudos to the offense is not the problem. They put up plenty of points in 2 games with Marcus Mariota, Cliff Kingsbury, the running back group. I'm fine with the offense. It's the defense guys that I have concerns.
I'm curious, Scott.
Really, truly concerns about this defense.
Yep. And our, we took a bunch of calls this week from people that were upset about Joe Witt's game plans and guys playing 100% of their snaps. And I'm wondering if you get a sense that they're going to change anything defensively. Like I said, we had several callers lamenting Bobby Wagner being on the field for 100% of the snaps. Frankie Louvu, Marshawn Lattimore. Might they mix in some of the younger guys into the defense more?
I think they might give these dudes that were out there in Atlanta, this starting 11, one half against the Chargers. And if they don't like what they see, I think you might see some personnel changes.
Wow.
It's time. They have to shake it up. If they don't like what they see and their slow starts and earn a hole again on the road. They started slow against Green Bay, started slow on the road against Atlanta. I'm giving it one half, and I think you'll see some changes in terms of maybe throw McGee out there, change up the defensive back alignment, change up some schemes, change up some personnel. I think it's that point where they got to figure it out because right now it's not good enough.
All right, what's your prediction?
Yeah. I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
Doesn't sound like it.
Similar situation to Atlanta, where the Falcons were embarrassed by Carolina. They came back home. They were urgent. They were hungry, and they played like that. Chargers, embarrassed on the road to a winless Giants team. They come back home. I don't like the spot. I know Jayden's back, but I still have questions on this defense. Give me the Chargers to win 23-20.
All right, he's in 23-20. That would mean a misery Monday for the Junkies and probably be a misery Monday for you if you show up to the park after another loss.
I don't want to be a Debbie Downer. Hopefully I'm wrong, but I think it's a tough spot.
Yep, we hope you're wrong too.
Thank you, Scott.
All right, guys, have a good weekend.
All right, Scotty.
Thanks, Scott.
All right, thank you, buddy.
No, I'm also, spoiler alert, I will be picking the Chargers to win the game.
Yeah.
So you're welcome, Commanders fans. I took the jinx off the
I'm
Commanders.
I'm going to pick them too, but hope I'm wrong.
I hope I'm wrong too.
He's probably right, though. It's probably going to be like a grounded pound, control the clock.
That's what the Commanders are going to try to do.
Yeah.
Hopefully the rushing game is
JP doesn't
effective.
think so. JP thinks they're going to roll up a bunch of points and beat them.
What's funny is I've had these arguments with my son. Like I've been a Justin Herbert guy, and he always says Justin Herbert's overrated. And I kind of feel like the Chargers are a little overrated. But we'll see. We're all prisoners of the moment, right? So it's week to week.
That's why you're saying that.
And you see a game, and you're like, maybe they're not that good. And then the next week, they're great.
If the Chargers
we just saw that with the Rams.
If the Chargers had beaten the Giants 31-10, that's the last thing that would come out of your mouth. They're overrated.
I think they're actually pretty good because they started
it's
the
just
season.
a reaction of how they played last week.
They started the season with 3 games against division opponents and swept those 3 games against the Chiefs, Raiders, and Broncos. Now, the Raiders aren't very good, but I think, and they caught the Chiefs at a good time in the opener. The Chiefs seem to be getting better. They're getting some pieces back. Look, every team stubs their toe every once in a while. They clearly did that last week.
We've seen it with the Packers this year.
Against the Giants.
Seen it with everybody.
I just feel like this is a get-right spot for the Chargers.
Who does Hampton remind you of, his running style? Like, who's he? Because I haven't watched him a lot, so I don't know.
He's good out of the backfield catching balls, and he's a physical presence. It's a good question.
He's not, maybe a little McCaffrey-ish.
Maybe like him, or maybe like a young Joe Mixon.
Is he shifty? He's not as shifty as Bijan.
No, I don't think he's that
on
shifty.
that level, but he's got some wiggle to him. He's got wiggle and power. He's going to be a handful for that defense this weekend.
He's been comped. Do you know who's been comped to?
Saquon?
Corey Dillon.
It's a bigger back, like a more physical.
And I didn't think Corey Dillon was that great of a pass catcher. Hampton's shown that proclivity in the last two games.
Maybe they won't throw it to him this week, but he can. I mean, he can catch them.
Yeah, definitely can.
They definitely went to him against the Giants.